But here, let's dive into it. So, Jeff, freshly back from Dubai, first things first, how was it? Give me the rundown.
Yeah, the Dubai trip, Jason, was absolutely incredible, eye-opening, mesmerizing. I could say, I mean, if I look at guys like you, Jason, guys that are, not married, no children, and it's not that you necessarily only have to be that, but if you are that, I wouldn't hesitate 1 second to reach out to Dubai and move there as quickly as you can. And I look at other places in the world, where I'm from and you're from, Toronto, Canada, and that country is going down the tubes. No different than you're seeing America go down the tubes at the moment. At some point, it will change, but at the moment, it's a shithole, and it's sickening. And I've said it here before. Over a year ago, I warned this stuff would happen. It's happening right in front of your eyes, our eyes. Markets are getting killed. There's nothing going right with that country at the moment. Name me one thing that's going right, nothing. And then I arrive in a place like Dubai. We can talk about the US after, but I get to a place like Dubai 2 weeks ago, and safety, security, unbelievable. And they made it one of their prime goals. Let's go install 300,000 CCTVs all around the city, so that not 1 inch of this city is not covered by a bunch of cameras. And what, of course, that helps with is any type of crime, of which there is so little. And I mean so little, Jason. I mean, there's nobody in the jails. There's no people getting caught for, drunk driving or any of that type of stuff, petty theft, stealing. It doesn't exist. And the reason it doesn't exist is the penalties are harsh. And people know that the repercussions for stealing, as an example, are real. And that if you get caught and you're found guilty, you don't want to go through what they're about to put you through. And then you look at, as a comparison, places like Los Angeles, where it is so sick to think that people can commit, even like shooting a gun at somebody and hurting them, getting their leg, like in LA recently. And this guy goes to jail for the night and is let out on bond bail the next day, because the way they see it is he's not a threat to society. And this thinking is nuts in America, right? It's totally nuts. If you try to pull something like that off in Dubai, see you later. Throw the keys away. You're in jail forever. So safety and security, unreal. You can leave the doors to your flat open. You can leave your mobile phone if you, by chance, we're at a cafe and you left it there. It will still be in the same spot when you come back 2-3 hours later. No one's going to steal it. You leave your bicycles unlocked, your mopeds, your little thing, always unlocked. No one steals a thing. So that is a great feeling, to know that you're safe and secure at all times. Then I look at things like the technology, the combination of technology, medicine, and science, and what they want to do. The amount of capital that they have available to throw at entrepreneurs looking to do incredible things in that space, in that sector, is enormous. I mean, it is beyond enormous. It's not, a couple $1 million like you might be accustomed to in the US or whatever it is. Here's a little friends and family round. It is so much bigger. It is crazy. But they realize they need to diversify from oil and gas, obviously, and that science, technology, and medicine, is the merger of all those, is where you need to be in the future. And that is what they look at doing. They have a time horizon of 50 years ahead. When they build real estate developments, they build it with the thought of, what will we need in 50 years to make this whole development sustainable? And it is just such an incredible way of thinking. You look at the streets and everything, just incredibly clean. You go to the beach, I mean, lots of beaches there, but incredibly clean. They're constantly being groomed. People walking around with these groomer rakes, and like everything is beautiful. I would get up at 5 in the morning and do the walk around. I was in the Dubai Marina, which is just stunning. And I would do the walk around this 7.5 kilometer kind of jogging, walking track that they've built and it's a beautiful track. So you walk along the water and you walk along with all the restaurants and the shops for 7.5 kilometers, not 700 feet, but 7.5 kilometers of gorgeous stuff to look at, or even do what I do. I would do one way, and then on my way back, stop at this incredible Turkish restaurant that had the very best Turkish coffee. I'd have that, first thing in the morning, slugging down a delicious Turkish coffee, just unreal. And so everything, I mean, the one downside that is clear is it is expensive to live there. So, how do you get around that? Well, you get around that just like any city. London is extremely expensive to live there, crazy to live there as well. So you end up finding, what are the great areas where you can get a great bargain? What are the great stores where I can buy, my bananas, my fruits, or whatever it may be, and not have to go to the expensive store and pay an arm and a leg to get bananas and whatever. So just like anywhere, you'll figure that out over time. But I can't tell you, Jason, I'll tell you again, like I did when we first started, if I was a young guy again and I was starting out again, man, I would be on a plane now. I'd get myself situated and just ride the wave for the next 2-3 decades. Dubai, as you've heard me say here for the last year strongly, will be the center of commerce in the world. Been saying this since, as I said, since we've been chatting about this for a year or two, it will become the center of commerce. And, it's not going to be New York or London or anything. They will still be around. But in terms of new technology and biomedical and stuff, that's where you want to be.
Dubai. Well, look, you hear
Yeah.
the stories, you see, how fast I'm sure people can remember. I mean, people, sure, let's say you started talking about Dubai 10 years ago. I mean, look how fast Dubai's exploded, the innovation there, the entrepreneurship, like you said, and it's incredible. And the one thing for sure, they have money, and that's always a
Yeah.
great place to be. So
It is unreal. It's also unreal, Jason, to think, here they are, they built this unreal city in the middle of the desert, right? That in itself was a massive accomplishment when you literally are there and you're looking at building after building after building after building after building after building after building, and they're all 75 stories high. And you say, how many of these are they going to build? And then you still see, another 20 buildings right in front of you with cranes on them, another 70 stories. So I was fortunate to visit a few friends that have a few of these apartments in those units, and their places are just immaculate. The level of construction in terms of how well they're built, unbelievable, spectacular. The workmanship, spectacular. The airport, like the subway system. Well, it's not underground, it's above ground, but the train system, to get from one end to the other, they have a couple lines. It's like beautiful. Yeah, you're riding in a beautiful train. It works well, it's on time, it's air conditioned. Like everywhere you go, of course, it's air conditioning. Listen, it does get hot. People complain about it all the time. Oh, it's so hot here. Well, no shit, it's hot here. You're in the middle of the desert. What do you expect? But if you can, learn to control your own body temperature better, it's not an issue. And I love it. Man, I'll be back there at the end of July, early August for a couple of weeks. And honestly, I can't wait to get back. I loved the trip. I loved meeting the people that I met, both on a personal and business level. It was good to learn a lot about the customs, the culture. I loved listening to the mosques, whether it was the early morning prayer or the late night prayer. And you've got these most incredible mosques where the guy is doing his recitations and it's just the music, the chanting or the music, whatever you want to call it, the singing, recitations, I guess. It was just stunning, the enormity of these mosques. It's like, whoa. Anyway, as you can see, I'm still pumped about my trip. I only got back yesterday. And I certainly, I can't wait to get back there. I can't wait to spend a lot more time there. It is a land of opportunity like you've never seen.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to do a round two follow up, I guess, in July or August, depending on when that is. But
Totally.
awesome. I guess here a lot of people asking questions. Obviously follow you, Jeff, and what you've said in the past markets. And everyone always looking for something, especially these days. It's been a rough month for sure. And earlier this week, market even went down 5% one day. So I guess questions people are asking are, what's your view on the markets kind of in the short term? What would make you become more bullish? What would make you actually buy something? And then all the other questions that come with it. So wherever you want to start.
Sure. So, listen, my stance on the market hasn't changed in over a year now. I mean, again, I said that when Biden was nominated, to become president of the U.S., I said, look out, that's it. It is what it is. I mean, you can't argue the fact that the markets and so many other things are really messed up. And it's not because of Trump that things are messed up. It's not because of Ukraine that everything is messed up with the U.S. markets. Yes, those things might have a small impact here and there, but generally speaking, the markets are messed up because of inflation, because of lack of consistency in policy. No one knows what's going on in the U.S. From week to week, it's the strangest thing with, baby formula shortage. I mean, I can't even get over that baby formula shortage, they're giving it to the illegal people crossing the border. They're giving it to those guys and they're not giving it to their own citizens. Like, this is pretty messed up thinking. And messed up thinking leads to equity markets that get messed up. That's where we're at. What am I looking for in terms of a great entry point? Capitulation. Always look for the capitulation in any asset class when the market gets absolutely hammered and your friends are telling you, I bailed out, couldn't stand it, I'm done. That's when you got to become a buyer. So you could certainly look at certain areas now, maybe do a little bit of picking here and there. But if you got the cash, you got the time, I would still wait for that good capitulation. Because now you're seeing the market down 1,200, rallies back maybe 800, loses again, back up, down, whatever. It really needs to get to that point, Jason, when you hear your buddies talking about it. When you hear the people in the elevator, the cab driver turning around to tell you that, he just lost his life savings in shares. And then you look, Netflix, all these stocks, I mean, they've all been hammered. And so they should be, right? And they have been, they should be, they have been. Netflix is not going to go away. But at some point now, it's starting to look attractive. But maybe it needs that last little bit of capitulation. But I also see they're also changing a lot of their kind of policy towards all the woke programming that they had put in. They're canceling all that stuff. And, even Hillary got her show canceled. There's a bunch of shows just canceled last week, and that's telling you something that this whole woke thing that's, been really jammed down people's throats. It looks like it's coming to an end, hopefully. And that we're getting back to common sense. And we're getting back to a period where, no more of these meme stocks or whatever, where they go from, $100 to $500 at the end of the day. Like, what is that? Well, I can tell you what it is. It's a bunch of no mind so-called, they're not even investors. I don't know what you want to call it. A bunch of kids on Robinhood borrowing a ton of money they don't have and playing a game of seeing if they can move stocks up and down, which they have. And they should all be charged with market manipulation as far as I'm concerned. Because a lot of people got hurt, if you got caught on the wrong side. Not because you meant to be, but you did. The same thing recently last week with, I don't know, I can't remember which one exactly, but one of the cryptos, the so-called crypto that was attached to the US dollar or whatever. Like, what a bunch of horseshit that was. And people got hurt on that stuff.
Well, when you have in a week down, it literally said down 100%. Insane. For sure. And yeah, I mean, every market across, and that also hurts crypto, of course. Anyone who's looking to
Yeah,
get into crypto now, oh, here are a bunch of red flags that just prolong the process. But you had a good point of, you got to wait till you hear other people really feeling the pain, and when
yeah,
everyone starts telling you that they're broke. And even so, I saw this taking it from Twitter, someone tweeted out, said when people start telling you that they can't afford to go out to eat, or go to a restaurant, they'd rather cook from home, that's when you should be, okay, interesting, I should deploy some capital. But so questions here, obviously, uh people talking next, let's say 3-4 months. Of course, we still have the Fed trying to push a ton of rate hikes and all these other things. What's your view on both inflation and interest rates? I mean, you have the Bank of Canada that wants 4.5% in the next almost 12 months. What's your take on all that? I mean, do you think, hey, that's coming for sure? Or do you think it's probably going to slow down? Curious.
yeah. I mean, I can't tell you for sure, but what I can tell you, what I feel, if I was doing it, I would definitely, if it was up to me, I would definitely raise interest rates. We have to put the the proper tools in place to have a proper economy. Listen, with Biden flooding the market with all the money that he just continuously prints every day, it is sickening what he's doing to not only the American economy, but to the global economy. You've got the UK having the highest inflation rate ever in, well, 45 years, whatever it was. But these are all because of America just flooding the market with dollars they don't have. Again, like Ukraine, like $44 billion to Ukraine 2 days ago or yesterday. It's like, that's more money than the US spends on their own homeland defense for the border. Like, does this make any sense? Like, does it?
No, and it's here's $40 billion with what? Oh yeah, good luck, guys. Hopefully you guys figure out what to do with it.
It's that type of thinking that everything can be cured just by writing or printing money, writing a check or printing money. And it's really messing everything up because people are really becoming dependent and reliant on the government, which is, the Biden plan. Just let's make everyone vote Democrat by giving them all money. And that's what the stimulus has been all about. Oh, the people aren't happy? That's okay. Let's print another 2.5 trillion and give it away to people. And that was why the market and stuff had a good move, 8, 9 months or 7 months ago,
Yeah.
was so many of these people were using their stimulus money and COVID money and all this free money to buy a bunch of crap. And listen, you got to get back to common sense. If you're not making or bringing in the money to pay off these debts, what's eventually going to happen? Either the currency is worth zero, or just call it a total bankruptcy and default. And that's where the US is heading. Bottom line is, it's not going to happen under this government, period. That's not what their plan is, to bankrupt the country. And American citizens need to wake up and smell the coffee. I've been saying this for a year, hardcore saying this. Wake up and smell the coffee. Your president and his cabinet are trying to bankrupt the country. Then the master plan, then they can print all this money for all the new people coming in, give them what they need, continue with the government by having another, 25 million new people that just came in. And, now they're voting Democrat. Meanwhile, they don't even know what the difference is between the two parties. But that's the master plan. And that's why they're letting in almost 22,000 people a day. Like, does that make any sense? And the
Crazy.
wild thing is, when you speak to the secretary and he's asked the question, like, is the border secure? He will tell you with a straight face that we're applying the law and everything is fine at the border. And with a straight face, these are the people making the decisions for America. That guy should be fired. He should go to jail. He should, I don't know what, but there's hundreds of these people in America that are in cabinet positions making these types of decisions every day on behalf of US citizens. It is insanity. Look at Kamala, the vice president. This woman can't put together a sentence, not one sentence. You know, the last one being we can work together so we can all work together so that we can work together so we can galvanize the country to work together. And, you know, I'm listening to that and saying, my word, you're the vice president, number 2 person in America. Who thought it was a smart idea to bring you aboard? Like, was there not someone smarter, more qualified? Like, there must have been.
Yeah.
And who made that decision? Biden and his cabinet. It's like, why is no one held accountable anymore? Nobody.
Crazy. It's always someone else's fault. But to
Totally.
change things a little bit more positive, I guess I gotta ask.
I like the negative.
If what are you buying today? If you were buying, what sectors? Obviously everything's getting killed, but if you had to pick a sector or two, what sectors are they?
Well, let me tell you a little story, young man. So last week, as you saw, Biohaven, one of our top picks, was taken over for $11.6 billion, making it, one hell of an acquisition by Pfizer. You know that we had been pounding the table since day one on that. Since way before the IPO, when it was a spin out of a company founded originally by myself and my 2 brothers. So that was, things like that are unbelievable. They're amazing. You've got to have, and trust me, I had nothing to do with any of the medical science and what made that a great company, zero. But obviously I'm very close with the people behind the company, Dr. Bailey, Jim Mellon, et cetera. And that's what made that company a great success. Great, smart people, smart money, incredible research, science. And it was a no-brainer that was going to be bought out. At some point, it got bought out, like I said, last week. And that was an incredible win. Shareholders, if you look at the equivalent payout, you could have, I guess, invested in that in day one, coming from the original Shellco, I don't know, 3 cents. And it got taken out at $148. Not a bad move. So, and that took what, 6 years? Not a bad move.
That's not bad.
So, yeah. So my favorite area always has been, as you know, biotech, longevity sector, science, medicine. How do we merge technology using AI and machine learning into all this stuff, drug discovery? And yeah, the other spin out from all this stuff is Portage. You got Portage that got beaten up. It's way down at $6 or $6.50 now. We keep on, it's now, on the IBR Internet Bull Report radar list. We don't have Biohaven anymore because it's going to be gone, but Portage is sitting there at number 2. Now that's not meant to be in any particular order, but I think that Portage at some point is definitely probably looking like a takeover candidate as well. Now, it would be difficult for someone to take Portage over because of the capital structure, but I certainly see some really smart money pouring into that soon. They've got a great pipeline, a bunch of smart people running the company, and it looks good. So anything in that area, these biotech companies that have really been beaten up, you got to look at those. I mean, when times are good, they get the heavy premiums. The Facebooks of the world and those types of stocks, I still, I'd stay away from them. Look at Twitter. Well, you know me. When everyone else was saying Twitter's going to be taken over, this, that, I was, in our last recording, I said, I don't think so. And remember, I said, I think he's doing it for a game. He's that type of a guy. Look where we're at now. Is the takeover actually going to happen? He's now looking for, he says, and remember, what he says and what he thinks are 2 different things. But he's looking for, all the number of fake accounts and stuff.
He's exposing Twitter, and it's pretty funny. He's definitely got him in a great game.
100%. And what he wants to do is get down to laying the foundation for a criminal enterprise. Has Jack Dorsey been telling an enormous story about the amount of real users on that platform for many years now with his team? And if that is true, imagine the fraud and deceit that was created by them. If they knew the facts were true. So if I'm Jack Dorsey in my team and I knew that I had, 25% of my users were fake, well, then why didn't I get rid of those users? Why did I represent to the world, advertisers,
The
whoever it
same
may be,
reason
that the real?
Instagram doesn't get rid of them too. I mean,
Well,
how many
isn't
fake
that it?
followers? And it's funny as a user, and I'm sure people see it all the time. You don't mind if a bot follows you, gives you one more, whatever follower, one more score, if you want to call it that. But it's interesting. I mean, some people think this is Elon renegotiating, of course, um, based on, hey, I made an offer basically at the top or similar ish, and now markets have fallen so much, so let me stir the pot a little bit and try and get a better deal. Do you think it's ever that, or is it just him playing games?
Two things. If he doesn't get a better deal, he's going to walk. He's not going to pay what originally the original price, which was, what was it, 44 or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's not going to pay that. If he gets a better deal at 35, that's quite a savings. And it's going to be interesting because behind the scenes, you can only imagine what's really going on. He's sitting there with his lawyer saying, dude, you misrepresented the company I put a bid in to buy. You lied. Now, you guys lied. You're a publicly traded company. You lied about the information about your company. Can you imagine if Pfizer lied about the results from a clinical study?
Yep.
So it's no different. The liability, in my mind, is no different, whether it's Jack Dorsey when he was there in his team, or Pfizer, whatever it may be, in their team lying about a clinical or anything like that. The fact is they knew what it is that they had and they misrepresented that. They easily could have cleaned it up. So, so I think, like I said, I think he would buy it. He'd pay for it if he could get it at 35, because for him, he likes to play these games. And then he could always have the, ha, I told you so, ha. And then he's going to go in, clean it up, fire everybody. I don't know if you've seen these recent recordings that were done of a few of the employees that were caught undercover. Did you
Yeah.
see these?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, oh my word, the things that they were talking about on these videos about the corporate culture at Twitter. It's not shocking. I think we all knew, but it was actually caught on video. I mean, these were senior guys telling their stories. And man, what a place. Like it was crazy. So like I said, sum up, if he can get it at 35-ish, somewhere around there, he will buy it. And he'll have fun with it, get rid of a bunch of people, and then change it into something that he wants to change it into. It'll be similar, but he'll apply a bunch of common sense and try and monetize, the platform properly.
No, I agree. Elon doing Elon things. I guess here it's just quick rapid fire. We usually talk. So Tesla, usually throw in, the Amazons as well in there, and Bitcoin, crypto. Curious what your quick takes on those three are.
You gotta love Tesla in Dubai. All the Uber Blacks are all Tesla. And one thing I loved about Uber it was actually funny. So I put it on Instagram, and Uber actually left a comment on my Instagram because I took a screenshot on Uber. You can get an Uber chopper, right? So I took the screenshot.
What does that cost? Just curious. Did you check how much?
I don't know. So you get your black or whatever it is, and then on the bottom, Uber chopper. So I had to take a screenshot, post that. And I said only in Dubai. Tesla continues to rock and roll. I mean, though I love the cars, I was in a bunch of them using them as Ubers in Dubai. They're a beautiful car. I mean, just beautiful. And I always ask the drivers how they like them. They all say the same thing. It's beautiful. So that's amazing to hear. So Tesla I still love. And again, I think Elon, I've always said, is a genius. He's a little bit odd, but he's still a genius. And then as it relates to Amazon, Bezos, listen, Amazon's had a bit of a rough go. Nice to see Bezos, though, finally, even though he's a definite left-wing guy, like Democrat guy, and even to the left of kind of normal Democrat, Nice to see him come out last week with Elon and give Biden a bunch of shit and say, what are you doing? Right. And this is a left-wing guy saying this. So that was good to see that, I think Biden and his administration need to hear more of that from the Democratic Party. Like, what are you doing? Because I don't think he knows what he's doing. And I mean that not to be mean, but I truly don't think he knows what he's doing. So Amazon, interesting stocks. Yeah, like I said, been beaten up. I still, I'm confused about Amazon at the moment. Like I am with so many of those stocks, Facebook, whatever. I wouldn't touch any of them at the moment. I don't think you need to. You asked me about Tesla. You asked me about Bezos. What else did?
Bitcoin.
Oh, and Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, what's it at? 29, 28? What's it hovering around?
Yeah, it's been around there, somewhere between 28 and 30.
Yeah. So it had, a bit of a shit kicking, and, who knows? It's so hard to know with Bitcoin. Again, I'll always say the same thing. I would never hold on to it as an investment. I would speculate, buy it, sell it for fun. So I really don't know what to say about Bitcoin at the moment, as I never do. It's, but if you want to buy, sell it based on charts, things like that, maybe on its next, if it has a next good sell-off, a good dip down to like 24, 23, which it could easily do. We've seen it many times. Is probably a good speculative bet at that point that it rallies back up to 30, 35 again.
Yeah.
But I think people are definitely worried this time. Like, whoa, what's going on? There are a few crypto currencies that blew up last week, like literally blew up, went to zero.
Yeah.
That's not good for the credibility of the sector. NFTs, market demand for NFTs are down 90%. It's hard to swallow that at the moment. But all of these things, like anything, they all need a good washout before the next run. So it's like cannabis had the amazing run, had the huge washout. Now it's rebuilding itself. Psychedelics, as I said in previous interviews, had the crazy run with crazy amounts being raised for, people that just don't belong in the industry, not qualified to be in the industry. And then, so many of these stocks, including our own, got blown out of the water. So that's the story there. And that happens in all asset classes. Remember that, whether it's Bitcoin, psychedelics, cannabis, it's always where the hot sector is, money flows, it goes nuts, and then people get blown out. And so that's my story on Bitcoin.
Yeah. No, I think that this has been a good overview. We covered everything. Got your Dubai trip, got general markets. You're waiting on the bigger tech guys. I think a good idea for sure. And it's always better to buy strength than buy weakness. So
Yeah.
I'd rather wait for things to come back a little bit than buy. So it makes sense. Anything else you wanted to put in this little video?
No, I think that was good, Jason. Really, I was one of the things I really wanted to, as it's fresh in my mind, was really talk about Dubai. I am such an enormous believer now that I've been there, tasted it, felt it, about the potential, going forward. And that I just so strongly urge to young kids, to really consider it, as an option. Forget about wherever you are. If you're sitting in California, whatever it is, Silicon Valley, like that's been done. It's like, whatever, who gives a shit anymore? When you move to Dubai, different culture, different everything, and different part of the world, that's where you're going to make a lot of great connections and a lot of, you can raise a lot of capital for a lot of great projects.
Dubai. Well, we'll get to hear phase 2 when you come back middle of the summer. That's going to be a hot one for you, but appreciate you always taking the time. And I want to say thanks for answering some of those questions. I know we've been getting a lot of them, but I always want to invite people, keep dropping those questions below. We'll make sure it gets in a future video. But Jeff, thanks so much for joining, and we'll chat soon.
Thanks, Jason. Always great to see you, buddy.